Women were not invited to many tables in this nation. The reason we fought and busted our behinds to make sure that you didn't have to worry about this.
They're disgusting. She's Anna Navarro in your wildest imagination. You could never solo host a show. You will only ever make it as part of an ensemble, and you could never hope to achieve the success. So you can sit in your little cheap seats all day long and enjoy your little negative henpecking, but your careers are going nowhere.
How ironic that Whoopi Goldberg and Joy Behar and the rest of the ladies on The View spend their time calling Republicans the conspiracy theorists. But they have been wrong about everything they have said over the last couple of years.
The View just got hit with an $800 million reality check, and Megyn Kelly showed up with popcorn and a flamethrower. Karoline Leavitt didn't just win in court. She turned the set into her personal victory lap. Now Megyn's tossing out burns like candy at a parade. Joy looks lost, Whoopi's ready to explode, and Megyn's treating this courtroom triumph like it's her latest stand-up routine. So how did this daytime disaster spiral so glorious that rattled every makeup mirror in the ABC lot? Karoline Leavitt, yes, that Karoline Leavitt, curb-stomped The View right into the footnotes. And Megyn Kelly didn't just grab popcorn. She rolled up with straight napalm.
I would like this young lady this is her first job, I would like her to do a little homework. Because she said something yesterday that really pissed me off. And that was, she said, there will be no wokeness here.
Oh, yeah.
Let me explain something to you. Because without that wokeness, you might not have that job.
Yeah.
Because women were not invited to that table. Women were not invited to many tables in this nation. The reason we fought and busted our behinds to make sure that you didn't have to worry about this. And now to hear you talk about it and to hear anybody talk about the wokeness was put in place for a reason.
1 minute you're sipping coffee and spilling sass in front of millions, and the next you're bleeding money like a crypto bro in a market crash. For years, The View rode high on its brand of snappy opinions, which somehow meant open season on whoever they felt like dragging that week. But surprise, when you casually unleash a media firing squad without letting a lawyer scrub your zingers first, those cute punchlines can come with a legal invoice. Throw shade. They tap-danced into a legal ambush in designer heels. Karoline Leavitt didn't file suit for attention. She brought the receipts, a courtroom assassin squad, and a grudge brewed with monk-level patience and TSA line endurance. This wasn't a clapback, it was a legal symphony. A high-stakes reminder that defamation laws exist for a reason. A power move to make sure future hit jobs are run through 6 legal teams, an exorcism, and a seance with Walter Cronkite before they ever hit the teleprompter.
Donald Trump will be sworn in as the 47th president of the United States, yay, on January 20th of this month. Not everyone's happy about it, and many people would like us to be more focused on the insurrection that he personally unleashed, if you ask them. As we discussed earlier, they think it's as bad as like the Holocaust, and you don't have to take my word for it. Here is Sunny Hostin of The View.
January 6th was an atrocity. It was one of the worst moments in American history. And when you think about the worst moments in American history, like World War II, things that happened, like the Holocaust.
And what a spectacular implosion it was. 800 million isn't just a price tag. It's a daytime extinction event, the kind that wipes out latte-fueled snark, finger-wagging righteousness, and selective facts in one glorious swoop. Somewhere in a high-rise office in Manhattan, a network exec probably screamed into a decorative pillow until it dissolved into regret and polyester fluff. Meanwhile, Karoline Leavitt, cool, collected, and likely sipping something sparkling, may or may not have started browsing for yachts. A sleek vessel christened Objection Overruled sounds just about right. And let's be real, she didn't just win the lawsuit. She broke ground on a luxury resort atop the moral high ground and started charging admission. Cue Megyn Kelly, not casually, not politely. She arrived like an IRS audit with designer heels, clipboard locked and loaded, flamethrower ignited. Her response wasn't commentary. It was an airstrike served with a shot of iced vengeance. Megyn didn't just roast The View. She filleted them like a dissection frog, with surgical precision and the unrestrained glee of someone who's had front-row seats to this slow-motion train wreck since 2006 and brought the popcorn and the receipts.
And then you get this little lecture from forgive me, those is over at The View.
I'm a Christian girl. When something like this happens to you, like this assassination attempt, and you say something like God was watching me, that is a very unchristian thing to say because it's very narcissistic. What? Well, God was watching me and not watching them. There's something very disturbing.
I should have pulled the plug on that mic yesterday.
That's obnoxious. I don't know what church she goes to. That is how people of faith talk. And the intimation is never, he was looking out for me, but not those monsters.
If sarcasm were an Olympic event, Meghan just took home gold, snagged 3 endorsement deals, and locked in worldwide rights to the smug laws and a mountain of receipts big enough to greenlight a Netflix docuseries. Discovery. That was their sandbox. Emails, scooped. Segment scripts, secured. Internal memos casually admitting they spun the narrative for ratings? Ding, 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 hello jackpot. And this is where it got delicious. Turns out, when you beam baseless accusations to millions and skip over those inconvenient little things called facts, the courts don't shrug and call it entertainment. They start crunching numbers. Reputational harm? Check. Career sabotage? Check. Malice with a side of reckless disregard? Oh yeah, double serving. What The View brushed off as just another spicy Tuesday spiraled into one of the most brutal and expensive legal smackdowns in TV history. This wasn't about forcing an apology. Leavitt's team crunched damages with the cold precision of a hedge fund shark. And when all that evidence slammed into the courtroom like a meteor, the only thing left untouched was Karoline's ice-calm poker face. The cherry on top? The View had gotten way too comfy, like they thought accountability only applied to guests, not the hosts.
That hot mess that they air in the mornings, called The View, had to issue not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 corrections, legal corrections. 4 legal notes. We only have 3 of them on camera, but look at this.
I have another legal note.
Oh, my God.
Both Trump and Pam Bondi have denied allegations of a quid pro quo. I have a legal note.
Not to mention what they did at that debate, where once again, they tried to fact check only one side, and then when their fact checks got fact checked, they cowered. They cowered in fear. I mean, this is a pattern with them.
Sitting comfortably behind a table propped up by decades of unchecked power and applause on demand, they never saw Karoline Leavitt as a real threat. Big mistake. She flipped their smug dismissal into an $800 million crash course titled, "Why You Don't Mock Someone with a Legal Dream Team." Meanwhile, Megyn Kelly watched the whole drama unfold like a front-row guest at Wimbledon. Only here, every serve was a subpoena, and every backhand. Journalism didn't vanish. It just ducked behind damage control with a thesaurus. Somewhere in a dim corner office, a network VP was probably flipping through Karoline's lawsuit while muffling a scream into a gluten-free muffin. Because here's the kicker, this wasn't about politics, it was about negligence. Lazy digs parading as opinions, journalistic malpractice hiding behind witty zingers, and Megyn Kelly didn't just notice, she grabbed a highlighter and drew circles. She didn't celebrate The View's collapse for the ideology. She celebrated the long overdue reckoning. Someone finally handed a media giant a bill in the only language it respects: cash. An $800 million invoice tends to jog memories. Suddenly, fact-checking wasn't optional, it was policy. The dominoes fell fast. Advertisers ghosted harder than a bad Tinder date, syndication deals evaporated, and in a poetic twist, the offending segment vanished from the internet like it never existed. But the financial crater was very, very real. The View tried to ride out the fallout with its usual playbook: shrug, sip, smile. But this time, everyone noticed. Viewers, sponsors, even the interns who suddenly weren't allowed to sneeze without legal review. Daytime TV had transformed into legal roulette, and the house always wins. Karoline Leavitt didn't just win a case, she ascended. Once pegged as a political newcomer, she now carried the weight of a gladiator who strolled into the Colosseum, flipped the script, and left with the Emperor's black card. She didn't just claim justice. She rebranded herself in real time, turning smear into spotlight, humiliation into headline, and bias into a billion-dollar lesson. She proved that under just topple a talk show, they chiseled a message into the foundations of network media: speak smart or pay up. By the end, no one had to spell it out. The silence on talk show sets across the country said it all. Every punchline weighed like evidence. Every opinion ran through a legal gauntlet. Daytime TV didn't disappear, it just got lawyered up and noticeably duller. And the ultimate twist? The most expensive moment in The View's history was a forgettable segment with forgettable ratings. A throwaway jab, a single careless line. And now, it's the costliest opinion ever uttered before lunch. So next time a host takes aim at a young political figure with the subtlety of a drunk uncle at Thanksgiving, remember Karoline Leavitt. She didn't rage, she didn't tweet in all caps, she sued, she won. And she walked away with $800 million and a mic drop that echoed through the industry. And Megyn Kelly, she didn't just roast The View, she cemented the gold standard in legal sass, a reminder that the sharpest burns don't come from shouting. They come dressed in facts, heels, and a devastatingly timed "I told you so."